expansion up before you get your destroyers out, odds are a little bit less likely that when the destroyers do come out that he's going to come up with like 60 bazillion gyrocopters and utterly flatten you. So you know, it's really all about the timing. If you find yourself losing to this strategy, well, A, you know, it is a strong strategy, so maybe you just got outplayed. But B, try and take a look at the timing. Like, see, like, where's the point where either A, I dropped a bunch of units, because if you drop a bunch of units, you're screwed. Like, if you let 2 or 3 of your fiends get killed without, like, getting massive gains from it, or something like that, that might be the point that you lost the game. And also just kind of look and see, where did I have maybe a little bit of critical mass that I could have started pushing him and doing some damage, and I didn't. Because basically, if you leave this strategy alone, you're going to have very, very heavily towered expansions, which you can do nothing against, and a level 4+ Paladin, which you can do almost nothing against. So basically, this game really, this game pretty much belongs to GhostStop now that that expansion is down. All he's really got to be careful of, kinda, is just to make sure he's got decent position, with like his fiends and everything. And just make sure not to fly any destroyers over the rifleman and get him killed. And yeah, it's really over. So, let's see. Maybe I can talk a little bit about the variations on this strategy. The next game that I'm going to go over is actually against the same strategy, the Paladin. Unfortunately, it's not the best played game in the world. Like, Sky, who is normally a very, very tight, very, very good player, kind of blows it in this game that I'm about to do, like the game 2. But Fav's strategy against the Paladin, I think, is pretty damn interesting. He actually uses the Panda first, and I know you guys have got to love that. All you folks that are sick of using the freaking Death Knight all the time, yeah, you can actually go Panda first against human, and it's pretty damn good. So we'll see that in a little bit. Let's talk about shopping lists against this strategy. You're not going to have time to buy a whole heck of a lot of items, mostly against this. It's more going to be you're more playing for tech here, so you can kind of slow them down and get destroyers rolling. But potions of invulnerability or invincibility, especially in the later part of the game, if you're dealing with Paladin Mountain King, are going to be an absolute must. Especially since you went Dark Ranger, all your heroes are undead, which means they're all nukable by the Paladin. So, yeah, I'm sure you guys have known from experience that they can drop your heroes really fast. So any chance you get, really, pick up potions of invulnerability. In fact, like, really in most of your games, it's more often a good idea than not to pick up a potion of invulnerability. It's worth watching here for how GhostStop kind of deals with pushing the human towered base here. You notice he's not gonna go like running in and exposing his destroyers to a lot of tower fire, because also if the riflemen manage to get into position as well, that could end up being really bad, because destroyers are pretty damn expensive. Even though he's got the upper hand, if you're not careful with your destroyers, you can end up losing a lot of money really, really fast. So it's really better to just kind of start whacking at his peripheral buildings and sort of draw him out a little bit that way. Once you've killed off like his altar or his shop or whatever was kind of blocking the first row of towers, then you can kind of start using your fiends as well to start to chip away at those. But yeah, definitely don't. You know, like I said, destroyers are pretty good for picking off like 3 guard towers or less, especially if, as long as you can like toss a coil to the one that's getting focused. If you see something like, more than that, I mean, Thu has like 4 guard towers in his base, plus he's got some scout towers which he could start upgrading pretty soon. Yeah, in fact, he's doing it now. That can actually be pretty expensive for you to take down with destroyers if you try to fly them in directly. So, like I said, just kind of play it safe and chip away at the peripheral buildings. Once you get a few of those down, and you can actually use your fiends to soak some hits from the towers and things like that, you'll be a lot better off. Towers in general, this kind of applies to like Orc as well. you don't end up using Fiends that much against Night Elf, but towers in general are not terribly effective against Fiends. I mean, they're they will kill them eventually, but it's just a damage type thing. They deal piercing damage. Fiends have medium armor, so they take very reduced damage from other piercing enemies. So Fiends are actually, that's probably the only case in this game that you actually want to try and tank much of anything with your Fiends is when you're dealing with towers. You'll also notice it can often be a good idea in the late game, especially when your opponent doesn't have much of anything left that you can turn into skeletons, to grab an Orb of Corruption, and you can actually put that on the Dark Ranger. Actually, Ghost Stop does not. He had it on his Dark Ranger earlier, who doesn't anymore. And you can also get a Lich Third. You notice Ghost Stop opted not to, and I think the main reason for that is when you're dealing with a level 4 Pally and a level 2 Mountain King, that Lich will actually go down pretty fast, so you really have to be careful about your third hero choice. Just realize that they can sometimes be a little bit of a liability if they get nuked too easily. They basically end up taking some experience from your other opponents and giving a lot from your other heroes and giving a lot of experience to your opponent when they get nuked to crap. Basically now, Ghost Stop is doing kind of what I said not to before. That's just a matter if he knows that Thu's army is somewhere else, and he was just kind of trying to bait him into coming back to his base, as opposed to doing something annoying like pushing the undead base, for example. But you notice, as soon as he saw the TP go up, he immediately backed out of that base, because once again, even though this is really a one game, just in any situation, you don't want to expose your destroyers to a lot of piercing damage. Watch out also for mercenaries, because the axe thrower guys, they kick the crap out of destroyers. I don't know if you guys saw the game that I dual audioed with Ryder, in which I got my ass kicked, but that's what he does. He actually uses it as mercenaries combined with Kodos and stuff, and I was just amazed at how fast my destroyers dropped. So just, be careful with them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end up this audio, and you can either go get your snack on for a little while, or just kind of shut everything down and bring up game 2, and it's got its separate MP3. So I'm ending this one now. And we're back. This is Fray again. This audio is still copyright 2007 WCReplays.com. I'm sure you're absolutely thrilled. Get this game paused, observer point of view, but mostly we're going to be watching the Mighty Fav, who somebody recently asked in the forum, who your favorite undead player was, and that was basically my answer. I think Fav is... The funny thing is, he used to be the least interesting player to watch strategically, because he pretty much went Ghoul Garg or Ghoul Destro every single game. But he's really, I swear, this guy's actually added more new strategies than most other pros, really. I mean, he came up, I think he was the first one to start doing the Naga, second against Night Elf. And he just, he does a lot of different stuff. It's with extremely precise micro. I mean, I don't know if he's actually the number one undead player out there right now, but he's certainly badass. Anyway, so we've got this game paused at the 1 minute mark. 1 minute, not 2 minutes. For once, I'm actually going to talk about the build order, because it's kind of different. So get this unpaused in 3, 2, 1, unpause. Alright, so what we've got here is an undead tavern build, and that's pretty damn rare, but here's the general gist of it. We're gonna get a paladin, or excuse me, we're gonna get a panda here. We're gonna get a lot of ghouls. I think kind of operating on the general assumption that Sky is going to go for a paladin first, because this strategy, while it is usable against an archmage, it's really not quite as good, because one of the things that's the basic idea here Actually, okay, I take that back. Fav actually starts up a Death Knight. He did go for like the late hero build where you build the crypt first, I believe. But and he's